Hello everyone! At last, after 2 years, I'm sharing with you some highlights of my trip to England and what you can expect at the Oxford Conference of Corsetry if you choose to go this year or in the future. There were unfortunately some restrictions placed on what could be photographed or filmed and what couldn't, and so I filmed very little the first year I went. The college where the conference was located, you're not allowed to portray it in any way that could be considered an advertisement. You're not allowed to show certain signs or crests or logos, and regarding the conference itself, I was respectful of the people who didn't want to be shown on camera, but when you're at a conference, you're pretty much surrounded by everybody. I also couldn't film the models or the photographers while they were at work, and obviously I couldn't film the actual workshops, as that would be giving away people's trade secrets. So I've pulled together what I could here, and in this video I'll be talking about what I got up to before and after the conference as well. The location itself felt like I was staying at Hogwarts or something. You could choose whether you wanted to share rooms with a friend or whether you wanted your own place, although they assigned you the particular location, so you're kind of scattered around the college. It's not like you're in one giant res. At the conference, there's always a room with a giant table where corset makers can leave their corsets. This room is locked after hours, so your stuff is protected, and all the attendees can study each other's corsets. I would have loved to do like a dozen different corset reviews while I was there, but there wasn't a lot of free time, and I was also not allowed to conduct any interviews at the conference. But I did do a couple of interviews in Bath and in London after the conference. But here's what I remember at the table, or which corsets were at the top of the pile. This one is definitely by Vanyanis, and you can see every single crystal was individually hand applied. This is all hand beaded, hand finished. It's just insane. And this one is by Karolina Leskovska. I love the cupped corset, and I believe that was kimono silk. And this is a sparkle-ring corset, and I ended up purchasing this corset from her later on. This one is by Pop Antique, if I remember correctly. It's a knitted corset. It's really neat. And I believe this was the Jesus corset by Sparkle Ren, if I'm not mistaken. She made this corset specifically for that year's conference. And this was a special corset made by Dark Garden Corsetry for Kathy Young. The actual silhouette of it and the size of it was it was mind-boggling. This is an outfit by Crikey Aphrodite. And this one is from Rosie Red, I believe. On the Saturday night, there's a dinner gala where you can dress up in formal or semi-formal wear, and many of the corseteers choose to wear their own creations. In 2014, the special guest and keynote speaker was Autumn Madame of Dark Garden, and her speech was about how her business had evolved over the past 25 years. Some of the classes and workshops in 2014 included drawing inspiration from architecture and nature, guided by Alison of Crikey Aphrodite, couture hand sewing techniques by Ian Fraser Wallace of Whitechapel Workhouse, and studying antique corsets, including the bird's wing corset pattern with Jenny of Sparkle Ren, and also grading different sizes for standard size collections by Marianne of Pop Antique, and also with Warbler and other interesting materials with Barbara of Royal Black. There was also a table set up for Christine Wickham of Ariadne's Thread, as it was her crowdfunding that allowed me to come to the conference in the first place, but she passed away shortly after. I commissioned Sarah Chrisman to hand bind a book with blank pages so that anyone could come and write a note to Christine or her family. And the second year, after I explained how much she meant to me, I got the one and only Mr. Pearl to sign her book, which was very special. After the conference, we were in a hurry to catch a train, but before I talk about what happened after the conference, let's rewind a bit and talk about the Symington Museum before the conference. So I made plans to meet Lowana of Vanyanis at the airport as we flew in from opposite directions at the same time. And we made an appointment to study some of the antique corsets in their collections, and it was simply amazing. We were allowed to touch the corset with clean, bare hands. Here's a corset made with all diagonal seams, and here's a pair of stays for a child. Notice that it has no bones, it's corded for structure. It doesn't reduce the waist at all, and it was mainly used for warmth and for training the children to keep good posture. These are maternity corsets or nursing corsets, and you can see the lower tummy support with plenty of adjustments for expansion of the tummy or elastic around the lower tummy, and snaps or poppers that allowed access for breastfeeding. Here's a neat ventilated corset. And here's a label that showed that if a corset lasted 12 months without breaking, that was considered impressive. After the museum, Lowana and I went to Birmingham to the jewelry quarter, and we spent a day at the Sparkle Run studio. Marion of Pop Antique was there as well, and Lowana hired Iniglo Photography for a day there. I also had a small turn in front of the camera, which was incredibly fun and only a little nerve-wracking. After the conference, I toured different parts of London and Bath and did some very touristy things and took some very touristy pictures, many of which I unfortunately lost when my phone broke. I was really excited to visit the Roman baths because my grandmother visited them decades ago and loved them so much. They even had a small fountain we could drink a filtered version of their bath water, and it was very warm and minerally. I also interviewed Beata Sievi of Entre, Nous and Lowana of Vanyanis, so if you'd like to see those interviews, click the cards above. So that was 2014, and my trip to the 2015 conference was structured similarly. That year I arrived only a few hours before the festivities began on the Friday, so I went walking with some corsetiers like Sarah of Exquisitely Wasted Designs, Carolina Zarzyka with a label of her own name, and I'm sorry if I butchered her last name, Dee from Luscious Designs, and Joni from Rainbow Curve Corsetry, and we checked out some different sites where Harry Potter was filmed. Later that evening we all went to Bill's for a casual meetup and some grub before lectures and workshops started the next day. Again, there was a table with a pile of corsets. This one was, I think, from Ties That Bind. And here's the finishing belt from Dark Garden. This is an underbust from Vida Noir, and this one caught my eye because blue and gold is my favorite color combo. And I think this one is from Ingrid Yellow, which I'm fairly certain that I'm not pronouncing any of these names right, and I'm so sorry about that. And this is a heavily corded corset from Exquisitely Wasted. If I'm not mistaken, unfortunately, I think this one went missing when her luggage got lost. I'm not sure if it was ever recovered, which was really sad. This is a piece from Julia Bremble of So Curvy, if I recall correctly, and Julia is the coordinator of OCOC. And here's the Pearled Beast from Amaya Couture, as well as the Trinity corset by Holly Raffaella. Again, on Saturday night, there's a semi-formal dinner, and the keynote speaker for 2015 was Imadasi Blaze, who gave an amazing performance and then gave a beautiful speech afterward. Workshops and classes in 2015 included 3D printing and other interesting materials with Barbara of Royal Black. This is fiber optic fabric, by the way, it's really cool. There was also a pattern matching workshop conducted by Autumn of Dark Garden. There was a question and answer period with Mr. Pearl, and I was super excited that my question was included in the list of questions, but I was not allowed to film that one, obviously. And also there was a workshop on building your own website and SEO with Fiona Pullen. There was a class on integrating corsetry with other clothing, and arguably that was the class I was most excited about, but unfortunately I wasn't able to go to that one. This particular year, corset makers were divided based on their skill or experience level, so not all makers were allowed to attend all workshops. After the weekend at the conference was finished, Katie from What Katie Did invited me back to stay with her for a few days. So she showed me the headquarters where all the amazing lingerie and corsets are stocked for online orders and how their business operates, from testing samples to customer service to order fulfillment. I also learned about the books and the history behind her business name, and we also took a trip to their London boutique. Honestly, people who live in or near London are so lucky to be able to have a shop where they can just walk in and try on a corset before they're able to purchase. There are so many other places in the world where you don't have that opportunity, so if you are in the area, please do stop in and try one on, because you have no idea how fortunate you are. I also got to try on a few corsets, and of course, Katie and I sat down for an interview. So if you'd like to see the whole interview, click the link in the cards or down in the description below. Katie also took me to Basildon Park, which is a gorgeous estate where they filmed parts of Downton Abbey. I'm so grateful to Katie and her family for housing me for a few days and showing me such hospitality. After that, I took the train to Portsmouth, where the Vollers family kindly put me up for 2 nights and allowed me to tour their factory and see how one of the oldest corset companies in the world runs their business and makes their corsets. They have lots of neat machines and neat attachments and tools, and I will probably make a separate video on their various tools and techniques, making a corset from start to finish. So if you're interested in seeing that, then just leave a comment below. That's amazing! Of course, what would a visit be if I didn't also interview the owners of Vollers Corsets? So you can check out that full interview in the cards as well, or in the description below. After leaving Vollers, I went right to the airport and flew home. So this sums up the footage that I got in the 2 years that I went to the Oxford Conference of Corsetry in 2014 and 2015, and also what I did in England afterwards. Unfortunately, I was not able to make it to the 2017 conference, but I wish everyone an amazing time, and I look forward to hearing my friends' stories afterward. Thanks for watching. Bye.